Karun, final thoughts on Daniel to McLaren and Carlos to Ferrari.
I think it's all happened sooner than we expected. I mean, I don't know. For whatever reason, I thought they'd keep Seb and Seb would stay with Ferrari for 21 just because we haven't had any racing this year. But, that relationship was clearly broken down even more than people on the outside realized. And it shows how little confidence, I guess, they have in each other maybe going into 2020. They've already decided that the 2020 car carrying over into 21, Seb's decided is not going to be a championship contender, I guess, because otherwise he wouldn't, why would he want to leave? So, yeah, it's a telling sign from his side. I think they've done a good job going for Carlos. I've been massively impressed with what he did at McLaren. I think, he had a tricky year at Renault where he didn't really, hammer Hulkenberg. But everything he did before that at Toro Rosso showed that he was equal to Max. And everything he's done at McLaren, I think, has been impressive. He knows, I think, qualifying is something he still needs to raise his game. But on a Sunday, he's been very good. He's very, like his dad, he's very good at a cerebral driver. Reads the race, reads the strategy. I think he reads the conditions across the weekend, which, if we look back to 2018, there were often times when McLaren were not competitive on a Friday and they just carried on being uncompetitive. Whereas I thought in 19, they did a great job of turning around a bad Friday to becoming good on a Saturday and Sunday. And I think, the driver plays a big part in that, right? Because, they've got to feel what the car's doing. So I think if anyone at Ferrari and anyone on the outside is expecting him to be a docile number two to Charles, I think they'll be mistaken. I think that's doing him a disservice because there's a quality race driver in there. Charles is an exceptional racing driver, and I'm interested to see how that dynamic plays out. McLaren for Daniel, I think for McLaren it was the obvious thing to do. As soon as Carlos was going, it's an absolute no-brainer for them to have signed Daniel. Frankly, if Ferrari had signed Daniel as well, you'd say, I get it. Yeah, it makes sense. The case for Daniel and Carlos it's nip and tuck, isn't it? You can make a case for either of them to go to Ferrari. So, in all of this, Renault's the one that's been really, caught on the back foot, haven't they? And you can see why they even the statement publicly coming out from Cyril and stuff clearly shows the disappointment with the way it's played out. They've spent over £40 million or something on Daniel for 2 years, and 1 year in, he's basically given them a vote of no confidence by leaving. Before the second year's, we haven't even done a race yet with the 2020 car, and he's already decided he's off. So, that's a bitter pill for them to swallow, I think.
How will Lando and Daniel stack up, let's say in qualifying, over a full season, do you reckon?
I think Daniel's a class driver. He's right up there, isn't he? Given the right opportunities, he's gonna win races. He's gonna be a championship contender. I think you have Lewis and Max as your absolute pick of the bunch on today's grid, and then you've got the likes of Daniel and Bottas and Charles and Sebastian when he's firing on all cylinders. You got all those guys in that next category down there. So yeah, I mean, for Daniel as well, I think it's a good move, right? They've got Mercedes engines coming. They've got the new wind tunnel in 2022. I'm a big fan of Andreas Seidel. I think he's a really good team leader. I think he will do a great job over the next few years. They've managed to restructure, so Zach's back to doing what Zach does best, which is finding money and raising sponsors and doing deals on that side. And Andreas is running the race team, which is what they needed to have. So I think it's I'm really interested to see whether we get McLaren Mercedes back to winning ways fairly soon.
Karun, if I can just ask you about some of the things going on in the picture there. Looks, first of all, in the background, the trophy you've got there.
That one is from Monaco in 2008, the GP2 race. Finished third in that race there. So it's the only one that's made it to my living room because, a podium in Monaco is very special.
But what about the win at Spa?
It's somewhere else in the house, but yeah, no, it just the Monaco is just Monaco, isn't it? It was so special. I love the circuit. It's right up there with Le Mans and Suzuka, Silverstone as my sort of top circuits. Brands GP is another one. And I should have. It's a bit of a reminder to me as well of you can't take things for granted. 2009, I was leading the race and should have won it in Monaco. The drive shaft broke with 8 laps to go, and so I finished third the year before, which is obviously great. But it also is a nice reminder to me that you can't ever take things for granted.
And the steering wheel?
That was a present to my dad, and actually, it was probably from your era. That's a 1989 steering wheel from Williams. Yeah, it's Riccardo Patresi's pole position from Budapest in 1989.
Wow. I'm speechless.
Yeah.
Presumably came out the back door of Johnny Williams' operation.
Well, no, it didn't. This is the thing. It was when my dad was racing at Formula 3, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of the mechanic, but he came out there in 1991 and gave my dad the steering wheel as a present.
And Karun, what's the T-shirt? Unfortunately, you can't quite see that. Oh, it's okay, right, nice.
In your honor, I was trying to find a Jim Clark T-shirt, but I haven't actually got one.
I'm very touched, but that'll do. That's 69.
I need to find one. So yeah, I found one of a Lotus 49 anyway. But yeah, it's Graham Hill at Monaco. It's actually Alain Prost's sons who are making these. So yeah, it's a company called 8JS that they've started making retro motorsport clothing. So yeah, there's some really cool stuff actually. I did ask them to send Damon one, so I think they did send Damon one of these. So I know he'd like.
Oh, he'd love that one. Yeah, the question is Alain charging his son royalties for pictures of him? I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know, but it's. I got one the other day which had pictures of Senna and obviously Alain on it, and also. So yeah, wonder how they've managed to do the deals there.